Okay, so I have a question. This is a good question because it's gonna make you think about your life differently. Ready?
Oh gosh, okay.
When was the first time that you ever realized that adults are not always good?
Oh my god.
That's a tough question, right? It's a tough question because when you grow up, when you think about adults, like you use the word adults, you immediately place yourself as a child. And you say to yourself, okay, like, who's the adult? Who's the adult? And usually it's always your parents. Usually it's always, like, authority figures. And whenever you're a kid, you just think about adults as knowing what to do. Like, adults know what to do. Adults know what's going on. Adults know what's right. Adults will fix this. Adults, right? When eventually there's a glass shattering moment where you realize, like, adults don't have the answers. Adults may not know what to do. Have you guys ever had a moment? That's a pretty good one, actually. Like, I'm not sure you internalized it like that when you were 9 years old or 7 years old or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I literally did hate her forever.
Damn.
But I did because I had like a really ugly like thing with anger, and so like I would hold on to grudges forever, and eventually I just kind of stopped. But I don't know if it was necessarily. No, I don't. I do not.
Cynthia's like, I'll go back and cut your flowers every spring.
When it's the best time of the year, that's when they'll be gone.
Damn.
But no, I think it was for me, to be honest. I think I noticed that they weren't all good when our sex ed teacher started to sleep with some of the students in high school.
Dang.
So I think for me,
did that person go to jail?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So you can talk about it. You're like, you're outing people on the fucking pod. That's crazy.
No.
That's crazy.
It's nothing anyone can search up, though.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So we good. Not that I was trying to get you to stop. I'm just saying, like, but we about to put somebody in jail right now.
No, he already went. He was already caught and stuff and whatever. But like, I think that's when I started to realize it, because like growing up, like he was like the fun teacher and stuff like that, and it was just like, ugh. Like, it kind of gave me like, well, no, not at all with me, but like, I'm just saying, like, he was like the most, I guess, entertaining one. Like, you know what I mean? Like, when you think of teachers, you're just like, oh, I think like I feel comfortable with this one, whatever.
That's a pretty hard one.
It was
that's
weird.
A tough one.
Yeah. I think that's probably for me when I realized not even just that they're good people, I just can't trust like literally anybody.
Adults, yeah.
Or adults, yeah. I was just like, trust shattered completely. Yeah.
How about you?
I'm not. I mean, I think my dad always like told me like to not trust like other adults, because we were always surrounded by like white people, and I'm not saying like all white people like are to not be trusted, but it's like the area we were at, it was like they were racist towards us. There's many stories that I have growing up where like I was discriminated, or my family was discriminated like very easily. So I think it's just in general like I always just knew like I wasn't comfortable in certain. I did have a neighbor too, like that I would go and play with, and my dad did tell me like, hey, like you can't go over there too often, and he's like, I don't even feel comfortable going, but it's just like 2 houses down, like, and everything. And me and the girl were like great friends, and I could tell like the dad like wasn't very fond of me coming over like at a young age, and all we did was just like play with our Barbies and stuff and all that. And then I remember I was like so little, but I remember like he had like the Confederate flag hanging up, and like I didn't know what it meant like when I was little.
In Illinois, that's crazy.
Yeah, they were allowed in our school. They were allowed to fly it.
Yeah,
they were like, but
in Abraham Lincoln State, it's crazy.
It's really crazy.
That's
I know.
crazy.
Abraham Lincoln would be so
the disrespect towards honest Abe.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. It's literally awful. Like, and no matter how many times like we brought that to their attention, they were just like, it's freedom of speech.
Yeah.
Brayden, how many Confederate flags were in Wisconsin?
Too many.
For real?
Oh.
That's crazy, dude.
I think Wisconsin is probably crazier. Like,
yeah.
But it's a swing state.
Yeah.
Y'all went blue this year, right?
No.
Oh.
well,
Not even close.
Whoa. My bad.
Illinois is only blue because Chicago overrides like all the other
Chi-town,
like,
Chi-city, Chirac.
Chicago is great.
Shout out to Lightfoot. I don't think she's mayor anymore. Is Lightfoot? Have you seen her? That's the most stressed out mayor in the whole country.
I know. Yeah, there's so many memes of her. But I don't know if she is mayor still.
She might not, but Shout out to Lightfoot. She was stressed out.
Yeah.
She was stressed out the entire time she was married, trying to fix that shit.
Yeah.
And every
All,
time
like,
she
the
got up
little
there,
snippets that, like, were-
every time she was up there, she was like,
I know, poor thing. I hope she's at peace.
poor
I
Lightfoot.
hope she's living her
Damn.
best life.
Yeah.
I think I realized it whenever I was like in probably like say 6 or 7 years old. I was again like super bad neighborhood, but like it was all Hispanic, so it's not like I had to deal with any of the like the racial element. But me and my neighbor got in a fight. Me and like we were good friends, but like we would bicker and shit, right? Like we're young and we're angry, right? So we started fighting and we started going at it. And my dumbass decided that after the fight, I wanted to get him in trouble. So I went to the front door of his house because we're fighting like on the driveway of the house, like in front of everybody. We didn't give a fuck. We was just fucking going for it. And I knocked on the door. His mom answered, and I was like, "Hey, just want to let you know, your son was punching me and hitting me, and like that's not okay." And his mom literally looked me in the face and said, "I know," and because she was watching through the window, and I was like, "Oh, okay." And she goes, "Yeah, but what are you gonna do about it?" That's what she said. Like just like that, right? And I just kind of like looked over and I was like, what are you gonna do about it? Like, you know what I mean? Like, what you mean? Like, I just fought your son. Like, I'll go punch him back if you want. And if you want me to fix it, I'll fix it, right? I can fucking knock your son's teeth out. Yeah. But I was hoping you were gonna, maybe you have an idea, Miss Adult, right?
Adult,
yeah. And she just looked at me and was like, so, like, look. And I think the last thing she said was like, maybe you shouldn't pick fights that you can't finish or some shit like that. And I was like, okay. So then we fought again. And then he ended up, like, I think he got like a bloody face or something like that, like, because we were going at it. And then he went inside the house all like limpy, and I don't think he was crying. He was a tough kid. But like, then his mom tried to get me in trouble. His mom tried to go to my mom. And like my mom worked 2 jobs, so my mom wasn't there. So I would go back to the house, and she knocked, and I opened the door, and she was like, "Where's your mom?" And I go, "Not here. Bye." And I just closed the door. She tried calling and shit. I just like, this is back in the landline days, so I just disconnected the phone. I'm like, "Fuck you, fuck off."
Funny.
Yeah,
that is funny.
Yeah. So I think it was like that, and I was probably like 7, 8.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, like we weren't like fucking like tearing each other apart, but we were like 7 and 8-year-olds.
Good hit. Yeah.
It was more so like you were on the floor, or like pushing each other and shit, like on the gravel.
You need to put that like on a T-shirt or like get it tatted. You're like young and angry.
Young and angry. Yeah.
That's funny.
But yeah, that's what I remember thinking after that day. I'm like, oh man, like just because you're an adult doesn't mean you got my back as a kid. It doesn't mean you have you know what's going on. And then like further along, it got even more obvious. Like if you grew up where I grew up, you would see drugs everywhere. You would see like prostitutes. You would see, I had a friend that his mom was a sex worker. Mm-hmm. I had friends whose sisters were like strippers and things like that. So there's no shame coming up. Like there's nothing to be ashamed of. I'm not like demonizing it. But you see a lot of stuff, right? So you would see a lot of drugs. You would see they would see pimps. Like we would see pimps all the time. Actually, pimps in my neighborhood or in the adjacent neighborhoods would be the ones that would like teach kids stuff. It would be like the pimps that would be like, this is how you handle yourself with police. This is how you blah, 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 blah. This is how you know what to avoid or blah, blah, blah. There were some people that would come up to us and be like, don't take anything from this person because this person, blah, blah, blah. Like, so it's very complicated, but like it was one of those things where I would realize as I grow older, I'm like, oh yeah, adults don't fucking know anything.
Yeah,
like
literally.
They really don't. Like, I'd go to school in middle school. That was the first school that I went to that was outside of my neighborhood, and like I had teachers that would buy weed from the students. That would, you know what I mean? I'm like, oh, y'all ain't shit. Like, y'all ain't shit at all. So then just a lot of other little examples. like that to where I was like, oh, okay. Like, I get it. Like, this world is crazy and nobody knows what the fuck is going on. And I think most kids, if they get confronted with that, most kids that get really upset because they're like, fuck, like, this is not what they said it was supposed to be. But it was the opposite for me. I got like really empowered because if you don't know what's going on, that means I don't have to know what's going on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I got really creative. Whereas most people would look at that and be like, oh my God, like, what am I supposed to do? And like have anxiety and like feel lost and this and that. I'm like, oh, it's on. If my teacher's a scumbag, shit, I don't have to live up to any of your expectations. I don't have, you know what I mean? If my teacher, if my neighbor, if my authority figure, if the cop is a scumbag, like, you know?
It's true.
That means you're the bar and your bar's down here. Man, fuck off. I can do whatever the fuck I want. So I started getting creative. I would do a whole bunch of crazy shit. I wouldn't listen to rules. Wouldn't do homework. I wouldn't, like, for what? What are you going to do?
Literally.
What are you going to do? You're going to tell me to fight your son again? Like, what? Like, So for me, it was actually an incredibly empowering realization. Mm-hmm. But I know a lot of people that go through that realization and they have like an identity crisis. They're like, I don't know who to trust, and they have like,
they spiral.
They spiral because they're like, I don't know who's supposed to protect me, and I'm like, I don't need protection. It's cool. Like, I'm just glad that if an adult comes up to me and tries to make me feel bad about whatever, it just falls right off of mine. It just goes into one ear and out the other. I'm like, I'm not listening to you. You ain't shit. And that's how I treated most of the adults when I was growing up. It wasn't up until I was in my like late teens that I started to be around adults that I actually respected, and I was like, oh, okay, I'll fucks with y'all. I'll fucks with some of y'all. And then in my 20s, I started getting like some friends that I was like, okay, so the world is still crazy and the world is still ambiguous, but like it's gray now. It's not necessarily that all of y'all are bad. It's that like we all have a little bit of bad.
Yeah.
And we all have the capacity for good. So then I would meet people that were like coke addicts, but that would like do the like turkey giveaway on Thanksgiving. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
I would meet people that were like alcoholics, but always like 100% would do anything for their kids. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So it was like really like it just matured, I guess. Like the real world is gray. Yeah. The real world is like crazy gray. You'd be surprised how many people are out there like doing scumbag shit, but that are like decent people.
Yeah.
Just bad habits and like pain. There's a lot of pain. That's really what it is. Yeah. People are in pain. Mm-hmm. People are in pain and they're hurting and they self-medicate. And they either self-medicate with like habits or with substances or with relationships or with, their job or, you know what I mean? Like, I like most of us are just hurting all the time. And we're trying to figure out a way to like not be in pain. And once I realized that, I was like, okay, I'm not gonna be that mean to adults.
Yeah.
Like,
once you realize
you know what I mean?
it
Like
too,
once you realize it, because then I was in that boat too. I'm
yeah.
like, man, I'm in pain, or I'm hurting, or I don't like my life, or I don't this and that, blah, blah, blah. So then I start to like look for shit to like numb me out. Yeah. I start to look for shit to feel like And then it's different shit. Sometimes it was weed. Sometimes it was this. Sometimes it was alcohol. Sometimes sometimes it was women. Sometimes I'd be around women even though I knew they were bad for me, just because I'm like, man, I just like the rush that you give me.
Yeah.
Because you're kind of crazy and toxic, and I like that shit. At the time, don't come at me talking about some spicy ass shit. I don't fuck with y'all like that anymore. Back the fuck up. Yeah.
That's so crazy.
But at the time, like I was in toxic relationships, and I was like, there's something like really invigorating about this. Mm-hmm. I don't like some of it, but then some of it is like really exciting. Like you always keep me on my toes, and like it's easy for me to like let go of all my troubles because I have to deal with your crazy ass.
Yeah.
Well, I think